that was a pretty strong message that the regime was falling. And it seems like that message is kind of going away a little bit. But it was, if you remember in the beginning, that was what we all heard. But you have to have the people there, you have to squeeze them. You have to really squeeze this regime economically, hard, so that any chance of their production or any revenue is gone, and then ultimately the people will erupt there. But that's kind of part of the approach. But again, think about it. We can't do the stuff that we've done before to win wars.
Well, I would actually push back. I say, well, obviously, one, we could. I think the question becomes, but what are we willing to deal with as the after effects of that? One, two, the fact that the Iranian regime still existed after all of the sanctions and all that shit, there is no economic consequence we could have given them that would have quote unquote destroyed their country. The only thing that would have taken these people out is a strike of some sort. And unfortunately, the president did not go in with enough strength to decapitate these people once and for all.
I just want to clarify, when you say these people, are you talking about the IRGC, the ruling class, the mullahs, the ayatollahs? You're talking about the nefarious?
I think he means the IRGC plus the 10%.
Well, let's just let him answer.
The IRGC plus the 10%. I am not saying mass murder every single poor Iranian.
Well, that's what you were saying a minute ago, because I was just trying to clarify.
I will also clarify my point to also say this. If some of them happen to get, unfortunately, unalived in the process, I'm not going to shed a shit ton of tears. Because guess what? If they hadn't got a dirty fucking nuke in New York City, I'm not expecting people in Tehran to cry over people in Brooklyn.
But they've lost their GDP for a year? They've lost their missile launchers. They have no navy. We've caused a lot of damage there.
Yeah, but they still exist. That is the problem.
They still exist. They fight on. Even though we've crippled them, and
I think the other guy was just saying that we should have went in stronger and we should have just eliminated 100%.
I hear.
It would have been war crimes, and it would have been people crying like they did. Israel did the right thing when they went against fucking Hamas. They just bombed the living fucking shit out of them. They caused the death of 80,000 people. Half of them are probably combatants, half are civilians. And they're gonna fucking be bitched at and bribed and war crimes and this and that.
Bullshit, bro.
But in the same time, in the same breath, Gaza, Hamas is pretty much fucking done for. And they don't have to fucking deal with it. We don't. So, in the same breath, we should have done the same thing with the RGC. We should have knocked out the power, knocked out water desalinization, and we should have fucking just laid fucking waste. We would have probably killed 100,000 civilians. They would have cried war crimes. But Iran, the IRGC, would have never they wouldn't exist anymore.
But because something you just said, Rich, that you have to think about, they won't surrender. They will refuse to surrender.
Yeah,
this is different than.
I have an answer. So I have an answer to that. Everybody always says you can't destroy a religion like Islam. That's not true. If you destroy every mind that holds to the ideal of Islam, and you destroy every fucking mention of Islam, and you destroy it from every person's mind, then Islam no longer exists. You burn all the history books, you kill everybody that holds to that ideology, everybody that's sympathetic, and you kill them all, and next thing you know, there's no more mention of Islam. It doesn't exist.
So you can't actually make statements like that on YouTube. Those would be considered hate speech and abusive rhetoric. However, if you attack the legal code of Muhammad, the Charter of Medina from 660, and you look at the gangsterism, the mafiaism, the terrorism, and what they did to the Jews in Saudi Arabia, the Muslim terrorists, the first Islamic State, it's right there in 600 AD. All you got to do is study the law, and thank God we have Abby here, a lawyer, who used to be a Democrat lawyer. Now she's a Republican. Mazel tov! Look at her.
Abby, I was going to mention, are you familiar with the story of Genghis Khan? So, I think it was Genghis Khan, right? He was the one that They came in, they murdered the whole village and shit like that, and they left like the women and children alive. And then he realized through them allowing him to survive that it allowed for that idea to still survive and thrive. And then he ended up like conquering like a quarter of the fucking world and populating like 20% of the world or some shit. And just he realized that when he would go into a village, instead of just wiping out all the combatant soldiers, he would just murk the entire area, go scorched earth, kill every woman and child. Or he would bring them into his group and like